eventually you get absorbed in and you are Sonic.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to No Repeat, a podcast where we pick 3 songs every week with no repeats and no do-overs to create the perfect playlist for playing hooky. I'm Taylor Olmstead, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, my fellow juvenile delinquents, Tyler Reed.
I don't know what you're talking about. I requested this off 2 weeks in advance. I followed the procedures.
And Sean Evans.
I thought it was just a perk that most companies gave you.
We're all learning a lot about each other in this intro. Tyler, what was our challenge this week?
This week, challenge to find the perfect song for taking a half day. Who submitted this one? It doesn't say on here.
I think it was Sean. I think this was Sean's idea.
You sure?
I think this was Sean.
Doesn't feel like me, but okay.
It could be. I feel like it was one of us chuckleheads. I feel like we definitely came up with this. But if you want to submit your own challenge, you can DM us, add us, wait for it to go up on Instagram or Twitter, etc., No Repeat Pod, or you can also send us an email, norepeatpod@gmail.com.
All right, so half days. You know, I feel like, as Sean alluded to, this is more and more a perk that you see in the corporate world, especially the summer Friday half day, as Sean and I enjoy. But you know, there are lots of half days. There's the half day from school. There's, like Tyler was alluding to, maybe you need to call out a couple weeks in advance from your hourly job to take some time, you know. Sometimes in the salary boy world, you have a rough morning and you're like, you know what? I'm going home. I'll be online if you need me.
You just say, F it, I'm going home.
You know? Sometimes all of the upper management is in an all-afternoon meeting, and you just don't need to be there.
Sometimes you find out that they're taking away your wellness stipend, and you say, my salary job, I'm just going to work half a day on Friday.
Sometimes these things happen. So look, there's a lot of energies that can come from the half day. I'm curious for you guys, though. What is your general, reaction to the half day? You know, we've talked a lot about, commuting to work, commuting home from work. We've done challenges around all of those things. I feel like half day is a little different. What's your approach? What do you do with your half day? Are you trying to maximize that time? Are you just focusing on rest? What's your strat? What's your strategy?
Oh, that's my sanity time.
Go on.
Maybe I'll get in a workout or something, but generally speaking, I don't really plan on doing much. I don't know. It's not really I waste it necessarily because I have worked during some of them, but it was my private time. We used to do this thing where we blocked out. I feel like every company might have this policy where they say this afternoon is blocked out, and you put your out of office on, and it's your time to do work where you can't schedule meetings, and inevitably meetings start getting scheduled over it 2 weeks later. But I feel when you do the half day Friday thing, it basically encourages people not to do this behavior if it's not completely necessary. And yeah, so that's kind of what happens. I mostly just use it to work on my own things, bettering myself usually. So
I think the problem, I guess, air quotes, with a half day is that when you really think about it, it's not that much time. But when you're at work, it feels like an infinite span of time that will feel especially if you're not having a good time, it's you're 4 hours, that's an eternity, but then you go out and you go do something else. You're I just blew through 4 hours by, I don't know, whatever. Mm-hmm. So I feel like the the ebb and flow of the feeling of time, I feel like it really takes effect when you're taking that half day where it's how much can you actually get done and be okay, so I left at half the day, you then have to commute home, You know, you're probably like, I don't know, you probably get like some groceries, or like Sean said, you do like a workout, and then it's like, you probably like, or you go meet somebody for like a lunch or like a dinner. You know, I feel like you fill it in with just sort of like a very mundane or ordinary task, and it's just sort of like, well, at least I did that instead of working. Literally anything was better than what I was going to be doing at work. So, so that being said, I feel like I don't feel like you're ever quite like, at least just from my perspective. I have gotten very few like half days, but just I remember from like school or whatever. But I generally know how it feels. But I feel like it's not like necessarily like a jubilation. I feel like you're not like because you still worked, you still had to get up, make your stupid little coffee, make your stupid little breakfast, and then eat it. So you're already kind of like halfway into like the work zone. You're trying to like get out of it quicker. So I feel like it doesn't necessarily change the mentality so much unless you really plan on doing something like big. Like you're like, I'm going on a trip, I'm going out, something big has happened, I'm leaving early because I'm gonna go see a movie, you know. But I don't know, I just feel like it just sort of feels like a deep breath, you know, like feels like sort of like the releasing of a deep inhale, the exhalation of a deep breath.
I don't know. For me, this has definitely changed since moving to a big city. Because I remember when I was in Ohio and working for that short little time before I moved to Atlanta, and we had half days, it was usually kind of like Sean was saying, like, do a workout, you know, maybe go for a hike, like, go do something. Whereas now that I'm in Atlanta, you know, notoriously one of, like, the top 5 worst traffic cities on the planet, I am so eager to just, like, do things that would take an absurd amount of time if I did them at 5 o'clock. Like, the joy and jubilation that I feel in going to the grocery store at 1:30 on a Wednesday instead of 5:30 on a Wednesday, game changer. It's amazing to not have to sit in the car for an hour to get to the grocery store and then sit in the car for a half hour with my food in the trunk going home, hoping that my frozen food hasn't melted by the time I get there. Amazing. Incredible. And of course, because this is the South, you can't go to the grocery store on Sunday either unless you wait until at least 3, because you got to wait for everybody to go after church. So yeah, like, weekday half days are my jam for that kind of stuff. Like, if I got to do dry cleaning, if I got to go to the grocery store, if I got to go to Target.
You gotta get your oil changed.
Yes. That. Y'all, there is no joy like walking into a nearly empty Target while they're restocking at 1:30 on a weekday. That is true 30-something joy right there. Or, oh my gosh, the nirvana of this. Have you ever gone to IKEA during the work week?
Yeah, when my cat died.
Well, that's maybe not the best example. But if you need something from IKEA and you can take a half day from work to go get it, 1,000% worth it. Oh my God, change your life. So, you know, I really lean into that. There have been occasions where, like, you know, whole office takes a half day, we go to happy hour. That kind of thing happens. But that's still kind of like work light, right? And like Tyler said, I've also done the thing of, like, take a half day on the Friday before Memorial Day so that you can leave town before the traffic. But even that is kind of like, well, I'm getting off work, but it's like, I'm going to go do something. I'm going to go travel, which is like draining.
Yeah.
There's something just so wonderful to me about, like, I worked today. I feel accomplished in that sense. I did mundane adult human stuff, and I still made it home before 5. Oh, best feeling. Best feeling. Love it. Feel like I'm king of the world. When I can just merge right onto the freeway without sitting in a metered ramp, and I can hit 55 or 60 as soon as I get on there, I don't have to, like, sit behind 20 cars. Woo! Now you got a stew going.
Yeah, I guess I kind of forgot how much of a nightmare it is to live in a big big old city where too much stuff is happening all the time.
Yeah, it wasn't like this when I commuted on the train. But now that I'm back in the car, every minute counts. So that was what I was after with songs this week, right? Is like I want to experience that joy. I want to exude that excitement, that like hyped up energy. But like you guys were saying, it's not a party. You know? It's like I'm feeling good about myself. I'm feeling accomplished. I'm going to go get some stuff done. You know, it's not the best day of your life. It's just a good day.
Yeah.
You're just vibing on a good day. But what about you guys? What were you after song-wise?
I just wanted the feeling of... I wanted to be jubilant, but not in such a way that it felt like it was going to be over the top. Because it's like, well, like I kind of like already said sort of like my preamble, it's like, you're getting like a few hours off, and it's like, you're going to probably squander it in some way, but honestly, the time is the part where your time is more valuable than sitting at a job and the amount of money that you're going to make in the time rather than being free and just kind of doing whatever. So just sort of like the feeling of a little bit of freedom, but like sort of just a little extra spice, a little extra sort of like celebration, but not too much because you don't get the whole day off. Just a part of it, and you're kind of like getting off ramping from actually working, so you're never actually going to be feeling like, depending on the situation, you're not going to be like super amped on it.
I love half days, but they always leave me with like a weird feeling. Because you're like, get up and you start and you think, nah, this is what's happening. But it feels good to know that it's over in a way. But sometimes the freedom is a tyranny. Because you feel like you got to do something and make it worthwhile. So
Real.
I wanted to find a song that captured some of these complex emotions that I have about half days.
I will say when I worked in coffee, it's like a Thanksgiving, and you get off at like noon, 1.
Yeah.
And you're like, everyone's kind of in a good mood because you're like leaving. You kind of like just have, there's a certain sort of like magic that feels like that can happen. And at that point, you're a little bit more like, ooh, yeah, ooh, we've completed the day and we're done early. Wow.
But then I feel like if you don't do something to maximize your life during that time, you just think, wow, it's basically a half day. I didn't do anything.
Just gotta manage your expectations.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
Well, let's maybe start with Sean's managed expectations and
Yeah.
work our way up to some higher energy. Sean, what do you have for us this week?
This week I chose Intermission by Strawberry Guy. I don't remember how I found this song. Probably just surfing through Spotify weekly update or something. And I liked the piano. I don't remember. It might have been like some Always thing. And the more I listened to it, I was like, okay, this passes the 10-second and so on test. And it has some piano and some synths, and the drums come in. And everything kind of just builds up in a nice way. I think it's really romantic. And maybe that's what half days are to me. They're kind of complex. Things start to like build up, and then you get to noon and it's time to not do anything anymore. Then the lyrics come in and it's just an easy going ride. Kind of just sways, nice and mellow. Not a lot of pressure. The flute comes in, so nice and airy. It's just it just felt like what a good half day feels like to me. Not a lot of pressure to kind of do anything. Intermission as a title might be, I don't know, maybe there's something there too. That a half day is like the intermission of your life in between the what you have to do on the weekend and what your work week might have held for you. This is just that short amount of time that you have to yourself, maybe.
Yeah. I vibe with this now that you've explained it. When you first picked it, I was like, this is maybe a little too chill. But now that you've kind of talked about, like, you know, your half day is for you, you're doing self-improvement, you're not asking a lot of it and you're not expecting a lot of it, this song fits for that. This is that kind of like easing your way out of work mode into personal life mode kind of sound. And yeah, I like the build here. I understand that this is an intermission as part of a larger release, but I really like this vibe, and I kind of wish it was a fully fleshed out song, because it's really soothing, but it has momentum, which is sometimes hard to do. But I think this like just tips over the edge where it's like, you know, it's going somewhere, but it's not going very fast, and I like that.
So when I first heard this song, I sort of like the initial like riff of it felt like it came from somewhere that felt familiar. And it sounds very much like the song The Forest of Hope from the original Pikmin game, which is sort of also kind of like a relaxing, sort of like low-key song. But regardless of that, if anyone, you know, any Pikmin heads out there, let me know. But this feels so out of pocket for Sean, but it feels nice. I think this is a evolution, and I'm here for it. I feel like we sort of have a similar energy in that it's kind of about the, maybe not, like I said, you're not like jubilant about it. You're sort of like, it gives you like a warm emotion, a warm feeling. Feels content. And I feel like that's as much as you could hope for on a half day. You necessarily aren't going to feel, you're not going to get everything done that you possibly ever could do in the 4 or less hours that you're given. Just not going to happen. But you say, I'm going to do what I can with the time that I'm given to the best of my abilities. And I'm not going to be upset about whatever happens, because this time was never mine to begin with anyway. And so I feel like the song feels like that. It doesn't feel like too much. It feels just right, with just enough sort of like optimism that kind of feels nice. I like it. I'm interested to see what Strawberry Guy has for us besides the intermission.
Well, let's keep the energy a little more chill and go to Tyler's pick.
This week I chose I Know Paradise by the Platters.
Thank you so much, Suzuki Teta. Only you may know Sekai. Hitomi o tojireば虹色のときめき. Heaven knows it's nice to meet you. Heaven knows it's nice to meet you.
You're saying to yourself, the Platters? Isn't that a doo-wop band from the 1950s? You say, yes, that's correct. But somehow, they, at some point, just decided to do a city pop song in the 1980s. There's no information on it other than that. Other than it exists. And so, I feel like, I was kind of searching in sort of like the city pop direction, where it sort of feels like cool, chill, but a little bit of excitement. You know, got a little bit of a funky bass, so I feel like it gives you just a little bit enough of that sort of movement you're kind of looking for, without asking too much, because it's sort of like nightlife music. You're like, yes, ooh, we're going around the city lights, we're just having fun, laughing. Isn't this wonderful, living in a technological utopia? But so I felt like kind of, I thought it was just kind of novel to kind of have sort of like this very like sort of like, I guess, classic musical group sort of doing the song over. And I feel like it's like a little wild to hear them. There's also no lyric sheet, but I'm pretty sure they're singing in Japanese too, which is also wild. So I feel like it's kind of like a cool song to pick for that aspect of it, and I don't know, I just feel like I just kind of like the vibe. Mostly, I picked the song for the vibes. Yeah, and I just think that it doesn't ask too much of you, but it just gives you a little bit of that pep in your step that you're gonna need to, I don't know, like I said, get oil change, do some laundry.
Yeah, man, this is real weird. Yeah, when you said that it's those platters, like the 1950s platters, I was like, oh wow, yeah, I guess it is. Why does this? Why is my biggest question.
What were they
Platters
doing
have
in
been
Japan in 1980?
Right. The Platters have been active since 1952 and they still tour, which is wild. Good for them. Obviously some lineup changes, but still. I like this song. I think it's a little too long. And the recording that we have here cuts off kind of abruptly, but I assume that's just the YouTube upload or whatever, right? But yeah, I mean, the vibes are good. The vibes are pretty much immaculate. Like, even the Japanese portions of the vocal feel very soulful, very forcefully delivered over this very smooth beat, which is always fun. Like, I love a strong vocal over kind of an understated instrumental. And you can tell that the lead vocalist here is just having so much fun. Like, he is ripping this up. And yeah, I mean, as far as city pop songs go, I think this is a fun standout in that it's like a crossover 30 years in the making. Wow. You really dug through the crates on this one.
I sure did.
This is not my vibe.
Well,
Not surprised.
It usually is not.
But I know Tyler, so I'm going to set the scene for you and explain to you why this works if you're Tyler. Think about this song as an extended cut anime intro that you're forced to watch for the 15 minutes of anime in your 900 minutes of opening, but it's Tyler's life on a half day. Right? It's like him in an oversized t-shirt with a bucket hat on, just like
Going through the racks at Goodwill.
What was the one? What was the show with the Olsen twins?
Oh, Full House?
It was like, imagine him. It's like a 90s, yeah, but it's set in this 90s era thing of Tyler just doing his stuff. Like, the sun's a little too bright on all the cameras, so you get glare all the time. But yeah, he's like going through thrift stops and like waiting in line at Starbucks and high-fiving strangers on the street, jumping a lot. It's just, it feels very, he's like shocked when he sees public art and his arms just expand wide and he points at it with a big smile on his face. That's where this works. It's because it's a Tyler Half Day song. Not because it's your Half Day song. It's a Tyler Half Day song. And if you can see that, can you just see him like Tyler? One of the opening scenes is just Tyler at the Cincinnati Zoo, just shockingly looking at animals with like slow pans from the animal to his face, and he's just got this big like smile on, just on top of the world.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like at the cat shelter, like feeding cats. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing for him. So yeah, to that regard, for all the amount of dislike that I have for this song, that it is not attracted to me in any way. It works for you completely, and I totally see what you're trying to pull off here.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's always great when Sean absolutely loves the song. That's the good stuff. That's what we're living for.
I'm just trying to be empathetic with you. I see you. I mean, just wait till we get to Taylor's. I never thought that Be My Guest would get on this playlist, but I spoiled it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this week from Disney's Beauty and the Beast. No. This week, I chose Gorilla by Little Sims.
Sim Simmer, who got the keys to my blood clot bimmer? Big time driller, monkey to gorilla. Who is this woman that I'm seeing in the mirror? Drink 42 and smoke cigar. Name one time where I didn't deliver. Silent figure, I was just on the ends, dropping gems with my friends. I got a 3310 and a pack of blems. Then got the gold full black, circle back again. Rapping when nothing progressive was happening. Ooh.
Little Sims, London-based rapper, singer, songwriter. She's been in the game for a while. This is off of her most recent album, No Thank You. I think Sims is one of the best MCs in the game right now. She's certainly one of my favorites. And this song is just her flexing. Like, showcasing her unique delivery, her technique. These rhymes just come at you from every direction. When you read the lyrics to this, it's like so fascinating and smart for a song that's just kind of a flex. But I think what makes this work for me for the half day is the swagger. The beat is this really cool, like, stand-up bass playing a walking jazz riff. And then you've got these absolutely massive horn stabs that come in to just like accentuate the biggest moments of braggadocio. And I love this vibe. Like, this is Sims on the top of her game, making it look effortless, just telling you why she's the best there is. And telling you off in the process, you know, you can't be coming up to Sims like she's some girl you went to school with. She's on another level. And that's how I feel rolling out of work at noon on a half day. Is like, you can't touch me. You can't kill my vibe. It's a half day. There's nobody on these streets. I got 4 hours before the traffic picks up. Let me just ride this vibe. Let me hit the gym. Maybe go to the store. Maybe do some takeout. Whatever I'm going to do, I'm riding my vibe. Me and Sims, we're feeling ourselves in this moment. That's what the half day is about for me.
I feel like the part where you say that when you get off at a normal day, you have like an hour or whatever, like drive home and everything's annoying and a pain, but the part where you express that like, oh, well, if I just get up a few hours early, everything is cut in half, or like a fourth, a quarter of it. And I can imagine you feel, like you said, you sort of feel like a god king. You say, I can do whatever I want. I'm free. And so I feel like this one, this track, I feel like fits that really well. Because kind of like you said, it's sort of like a braggadocious sort of song where it's just sort of like really like showing off. And I feel like it really lends itself well to. It still isn't like too like over the top. Like it's cool, but it's still like refined. And I feel like it doesn't have like a chaotic energy of like a punk song or like a metal song that's like just trying to do too much. I feel like it has a correct amount of celebration for sort of like kind of what you're doing. Also, I just want to say I really love that big blaring horn. That's real nice. And I was trying to figure out if that was like a sample, but I think that might just be like an original, like sort of like,
it is,
like
yeah,
piece to it. Yeah. And that, you know, sometimes I get really excited about like it's just an original sound, because I feel like everything just feels like a sample now. I feel like if something's like sounds a little too cool, I'm like, oh, okay, where did they get it from? But they did sample, I think, I completely blanked onto it. Like a Ramsey Lewis song for sort of like the main beat of it, and that still feels really cool. It kind of has like a can I kick it kind of vibe.
Yes, yes.
Understand what I've, you know, there's many songs that the stealing from Lou Reed song. Anyway, but yeah, no, I think this is good. I think it's like this is definitely sort of like hot Atlanta summer, trying to just get where you're trying to go, and you just get there when you need to, even early. Love it. Cool.
Yeah, I like the orchestral elements of this song. I think it's missing a bridge. It doesn't necessarily need it, but I was waiting for some more 90s influence things to happen in the bridge. And I don't know. You do your own thing, so that's fine. But what does this say about you, though? And Tyler alluded to it in a way. But you're a half-day thought. That's what everything has told me about this. Like, you're that person that's like, whenever you come into work on Monday, people are like, what'd you do on your half day? You're like, oh, I went to Target and I didn't wait in traffic and my ice cream didn't melt. And they're like, oh yeah, we know your type. You're that over there with the little cart and your little sunglasses on. Yeah, thinking you're all better than everybody else. That's you. And this song explains that about you.
Can't believe you call Taylor a hoe.
Call like a
Be very specific when you talk on who the best is. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Taylor's allowed to be the best at taking a half day. He could have it.
Just if you're not on Sims, you gotta get on it.
Yeah, that being said, I feel like I'm like, okay, yeah, because she does have a great flow. It's like real good.
Yeah.
I feel like the comments are a lot like old school, whatever. I feel like there's a certain like kind of guy that's gonna be like, I like when rap was lyrical miracle, and it's like, okay, let's take it easy. I think it's got a good flow. That's all I'll say.
Check her out.
Had one of the best sounds last year, right?
Yeah, Sometimes I Might Be Introvert is the name of that record. It's great.
All right, now it's time for my first favorite part of this show. Well, second, after Tyler's pick. 242, Half Day. At 71 DPI picked Another Day in the Sun by Jaguar Me. Jaguar Me? I'm going to go with Jaguar Me. Because I was hooked on phonics as a kid. And that's how you sound it out. Trent Worth picked Quittin' Time by Zach Bryan. I feel like
wow, coming in here
song.
with that country, that Zach Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess.
Sometimes you get off there, you're just like, you know what? Country. I'm not hating on that. Good for you. And then last is Rory Snake, Power of Love by Huey Lewis.
Neil Cesariga ruined this song for me.
Yeah.
But
you also just listen to that.
Yeah, just put on Neil Cesariga's mouth sounds and you'll never want to hear that song again. But it is a good song.
All right, and with that, it's time for our songs, which are B-sides that we're close to getting on here, but maybe if we had a full day, different story.
Yeah. Wharf Talk by Tyler, the Creator, featuring A$AP Rocky. Really just about anything off of Call Me If You Get Lost, but Wharf Talk is a good vibe. Stuck in It by Had To, really cool 90s style grungy alt rock. And then if you're in a dancey clubby mood, Good Lies by Overmono.
You know, I kind of knew the vibe I was kind of going for, but I feel like if you were to kind of throw in some other sounds in there, I feel like a lot of songs I kind of were like thinking about last week. A lot of, I feel like the Supremes would also kind of be good. I feel like, that being said, there was a sort of French alt rock band called Le Couleur. I don't know how to say it's desert with a on the E, and so I think that song would be good. It's a nice chill vibe. Also for what the kind of the mood I was in.
My other, I guess my B-side would be That Life by Unknown Mortal Orchestra. Just has a nice vibe for a half day. I like all the effects that he uses on his music too, so.
I was going to say, just about anything off of Sex and Food would probably be good.
That would do too, yeah.
Well, Tyler, if people want to take you to a business lunch, where can they do that?
take me to Moxie Cafe at Findlay Market, please. You can find me to design illustration work at rudepets.club. As always, find me on the socials. Rude Pet Club on Instagram, TikTok, X. I'm not calling it that. Twitter. We'll see how much longer we're on there.
Sean, if people want to go to the park with you for the afternoon, where can they do that?
Oh, hell yeah. Hit me up on Instagram at TellySean.
And if you want to meet me at IKEA to help load some flat pack furniture, you can find me on the socials at TC Olmstead. All of these songs, they'll be on the official No Repeat podcast playlist for whenever you need them. That's on Apple Music and Spotify, just for you. We'll be back next week with another episode of No Repeat.